And, well, in the wake of that, Ange has been sacked. So this is the big news this morning. Aussie Ange sacked just 19 minutes after full-time and after only 39 days and 9 matches in charge. So it's been talked about. Stan Sports' Craig Foster joining us here on Wide Water Sports. And, Fozzie, good to see you. It has been talked about, but it's brutal when it happens.
Well, the coaching merry-go-round in the EPL is brutal, that's for sure, but it's a shocking decision, in every respect. The fact that Marinakis first sacked Nuno anyway, which everyone kind of, universally realised was a pretty ridiculous decision at the time, but then brought in Ange, in which case you know that you're going to need some time to be able to change the style of the team. During that period, though, of course, Ange knew that he needed to manage some results as well as a stylistic change, and that's what he had gambled that he was going to be able to do, because he knew, and we all know, that Marinakis sacks coaches. Like this, I think, will be the 9th coach in the last 8 years, and across in Greece, where he owns Olympiacos, he had 16 in 14 years, right? So, yeah. So Ange knew what he was walking into, but I tell you what, the only way that this could occur is if you brought in someone like Ange Postecoglou and then you looked at it and said, well, the change is not occurring. And even after 39 days is still ridiculous. But if the change is not occurring, you could say, OK, well, we've made the wrong decision here, it's just not working. But actually the team throughout that period has been demonstrating that they're changing. They've had some fantastic opportunities. They've had games they should have won. Sunderland home, Real Betis, which is a very strong team away in Europa League as well. They should have won that game. Played fantastic, particularly first half. And even here against Chelsea, for those who want to go watch it, that first half was excellent from Nottingham Forest, the best football that they've played for quite some years. So you can see the change happening. Unfortunately, I think, you've got the owner and also the environment wasn't conducive to staying, because the fans loved Nuno, the last guy, and he'd done so well there that it was kind of a surprise him being sacked. And then so Ange has walked into what became very quickly a toxic environment. And the final thing I'll say is what he needed was Marinakis, like Ratcliffe at Manchester United, when their coach has really not been doing that well and has a long time, over a year now, to try and change the style. What he needed was Marinakis to come out in the last few weeks and back him and say, listen, we made this change for a reason. We can see, the data says this, we can see that the change is occurring, and therefore he has my full confidence. And I think by the time we hit January, you've got a window, he can bring in 2 or 3 players who can play that style. But he did not do that. And that's when you knew that Ange was on borrowed time.
And it seems to me that Marinakis, obviously you know him a hell of a lot better than I do, it seems to be that is his style.
That's true.
Right from the word go, sitting here on this panel, we've talked about it for the 39 days, or the 5 shows that we've had here.
Exactly.
He's been on a short leash right from the word go. So is this what we're going to expect for the next guy who comes in? And I suppose that's question number 1. And what about Ange? Where does he go next?
Well, how long we got? But so the next guy's going to come. Yeah, this is this owner. That's true. So I think from Ange's perspective, or any team builders, those are the type of coaches who need some time in order to change the style of a team. Like Ange keeps saying, "I win a trophy in my 2nd year," but he also acknowledged at this club, he said, "This is not a project. I need results along the way." He said that in one of his first press conferences. He knew that he had to manage both of those processes because of the particular owner at this club. So, yes, the new guy's under the same pressure, but what they'll do is they'll go back now to someone, undoubtedly, back to the same defensive style of play, because that's what was successful for them. So, in other words, I think from coaching perspective, from Aussies, we want Ange at that level. We've got Kevin Muscat, looks like he might go to Glasgow Rangers, which would be fantastic. So we're just starting to put people there, and I think what it'll do is make all Australian coaches say, listen, you need to be really careful as to the situation you're stepping into and the owner that you're going to be working under. Ange made that choice. He knew the risk, and unfortunately this, what I would say is a stupid decision, but a very predictable one, has been made. So where does he go from here? Well, there's many national teams he can take, but what we want, hopefully he'll take a short break and then he'll be back at one of the top level clubs in Europe. He's proven that he can be there. We need him there because, now Muskie's in this frame, and now we've got, Graham Arnold might go after Iraq, he might go across to Europe, and we've got many top young coaches coming through, and we want that pathway to accelerate.